All right, let's get some coffee. Yes. Where? The cast of Friends never went to dinner together. They only ate together once in the 17 years after the show finished. During the reunion, Lisa Kudrow told this shocking fact. Everything will be fine. Okay, that's simple for you to say. There aren't 3 kids coming out of your D******. Fans thought they were best friends, but Lisa was having her own problems. I don't think it was too bad for me. She stayed away from group events and after parties. It made her think of being left by friends in middle school, she said. There's more to the story, though. There was something on that set that made her feel like she didn't belong. The real reason Lisa stayed by herself will shock you. Lisa Valerie Kudrow was born in Encino, California, on July 30, 1963. She grew up in a house that was quiet and tense. Her father, Dr. Leon Kudrow, was a very smart headache doctor who in 1971 opened the first private headache center in the western United States. The real strength of her mother, Nedra, came after she had worked as a travel agent. She beat breast cancer and even lived through the first few weeks of the COVID-19 outbreak. Quiet death in February 2020, at age 89. It wasn't flashy, but the Kudrows were powerful. The house they lived in Encino was cozy and full of books and hopes. Lisa didn't grow up in a crazy place. She learned how to succeed as a child. She was the youngest of 4 children, but the age gaps made her feel like she was rising up by herself a lot of the time. The year she was born was 1955. She was 8 years older than her and ran a business called Honeymoon Designs that made clay art. David was born in 1957 and became a neurologist like their dad. In 1995, he took over the office. Derek, who was born in 1959, kept his life very secret. He was never the center of attention. Helene looked so much like Lisa that she was used as a body double on Friends for a few scenes. David got married in 1984 and has 2 boys named Ethan and Danny. Lisa was still in school when her brothers were already starting to live on their own. She, the quiet one, was then buried under books. As a child, she grew up in a home where being correct was praised more than being funny or famous. Instead of jokes or rumors at dinner, people talked about the brain. Lisa could feel the weight right away. She did tennis like it was her job. She read like she had to stay alive. She couldn't play outside like other kids in Encino. Her parents had tight rules about school that made it hard for her to be a normal teen. She had a different feeling. She wouldn't have done it if she didn't have been built that way. She didn't feel like she fit in at Taft High School, even though she made the varsity tennis team. It only meant that she had done something again. Around age 5, she began to show signs of being very shy. Stayed inside with old books while other kids played outside. Lisa's teachers noticed that she thought too much about even the smallest social cues, and her mother called her an old soul. She didn't just stay away from parties, she didn't even want to be seen. The world was too loud for her, and she liked the quiet spots better. By middle school, she was farther behind everyone else. The people around her had different rules that she couldn't follow. She didn't try. She learned French. She learned about biology. She looked at everything but people. The 7th grade at Portola Middle School came next. The floor then fell. 2 of her best friends told her she should try living without them. They got up and left like it was a test. Lisa was the subject. The refusal wasn't a mistake. It was planned. At the same time, their class was reading Macbeth. She kept thinking about the line, "What's fair is foul and foul is fair." It caught everything. Lisa thought the world had turned upside down. People looked up to the meanest kids. The nice ones were not noticed. She was alone in the middle. Helene, her sister, and age 20 at the time, saw what was going on. She would drive to school and pick up Lisa on half days, while the other kids went out to lunch with groups. She would take her to lunch off campus so that she wouldn't have to sit by herself. It didn't happen once. It turned into a habit. Helene checked the time, read the plan, and then she showed up. Helene saw it, even though most 20-year-olds wouldn't have. Lisa was in danger, but she hid Lisa from it. Lisa said that it was amazing. The things her parents said to Lisa when she asked them what she did wrong hurt her deeply. Her dad just told her, "Femme." She was told not to do that by her mother. No one helped her figure it out. No one stopped to let her talk. They didn't mean to hurt her, but they left her feeling alone when she was already feeling alone. Something inside her got stronger in that moment. She stopped putting faith in groups. She started to keep herself safe by giving herself room and being quiet. The scars took a long time to go away. She stopped going to any group activities. She got lost in math and language books and science projects. She began to think that friendships could end at any time. When she finally became famous, she felt like she could finally love herself because everyone else did. But that didn't get rid of the 13-year-old girl who had nowhere to sit at lunch. She tried again at Taft High. The tennis team helped her stay on track, and she did well. But the part about making friends never worked. She tried going to a special school at Cornell University that summer. She took writing and Jewish history, but failed both of them. It wasn't because she wasn't smart. She felt too stressed out trying to figure out where she fit in. Her dad told her, "You failed too. That's great. Enjoy yourself now." It was clear to him how badly she was hurt. It was no longer about the grades. It had to do with her health. She had a nose job when she was 16. Her whole view of herself changed after the surgery. It was done right before she switched schools. Being sure of herself was something she had never had before. She really meant it when she said, "I went from being ugly to not being ugly." It wasn't just how they looked. She finally felt like she had a chance to be seen in a different way. Lisa did really well in school even with everything going on. Biology was her main subject, and she won prizes at science shows. She got into Vassar College and learned about psychobiology there. In 1985, she finished. After that, she worked at her dad's clinic for 6 to 8 months and did real medical study. She got her name on a study about groups of headaches and people who are left-handed. This wasn't a job with a famous person. She did numbers. She looked into patterns in the brain. A lot of medical advances happened in the house where she grew up. John Lovitz used to be friends with her brother David, who is now a neurologist. John would later tell Lisa she should try performing. But that wasn't where her life was going yet. She had been to France when she was in high school. That trip helped her learn French quickly. She worked on her skills and got better all through college. Then, in the early 1980s, she shared a room with a French woman who was seeing a man named Michel Stern. In 1995, after many years, Michel and Lisa would get married. Oh, all of it went back to that high school trip where learning French seemed like just another school job. But Hollywood put a different kind of stress on them. People began to talk about her body after she had surgery on her nose. People who told her nice things always had rules that she had to follow. Stay thin, look great, and always compare yourself to other people. She told friends that being around Jennifer Aniston and Courteney Cox made her feel like a giant of a woman. She had to lose weight to keep up. People praised her when she did. The nose job made her feel good about herself, even though it was bad for her. Some people had problems with their bodies after that, but they never really went away. It was September 1981 when Lisa Kudrow left the soft warmth of California for the cold grounds of Vassar College in New York. She wasn't there to show off or be seen. People study air, which is something important and passed down, and she was there to study psychobiology. Dr. Lee Kudrow, her father, had made a name for himself by studying headaches. Lisa wished she could follow him. She kept her GPA at 3.7, got her biology degree in May 1985, and never missed a shift in the lab. She played tennis on the college level, spoke French very well, and spent a lot of time on data. She lived in Stronghouse and pretty much slept in the science building her junior year. It wasn't even possible to act. She worked late into the night coding neurological patient files, learning how to find clusters and checking migraine sufferers for left-handed dominance. It was exact. It was very scientific. It was hers, though. Even after she graduated, she kept working with her dad, helping him from Encino. They would write something together that would go down in medical history. Handedness and Headache was a study that came out in 1994 in the magazine Cephalalgia. Her name was on it. What they found had never been seen before after looking at 273 people with cluster headaches and 477 people with migraines. Out of those 273 cases in the cluster, 24 were left-handed. That many was 13 times more than the average person. It pointed to a pattern in the brain that no one had ever linked before. And 55% of the time, the lidocaine nose spray worked to treat the problem. Lisa Kudrow was a real scientist first and foremost. Harvard was not far away. Stanford was going around. But while she was making progress in science, something else began to grow. Around 1983, Lisa's older brother put her in touch with John Lovitz, a loud and strange stand-up comedian who was already living in Los Angeles. He wasn't like anyone else in her lab. They both laughed without meaning to. She made him laugh without meaning to. He kept noticing that Lisa would change sounds when she talked about lab work or class without realizing it. He laughed at her. She told him she wasn't. He told her again. She brushed it off, but something broke. She took her first big risk in late 1985, 6 months after graduating from Vassar. She signed up for Cynthia Segeti's comedy class at the Coronet Theater, but it didn't go well. It made me feel bad. During one practice, she stopped moving at all. Lisa was frozen with fear as her scene partner had to work alone for 5 painful minutes. That night, she almost quit. And maybe she would have if it weren't for Conan O'Brien. Conan was fresh off of Harvard. He was skinny, scaredless, and ready to act completely silly. Lisa saw him act out scenes without feeling bad about it. Something changed. She came up to me after class and said, "Hi, my name is Lisa." That was great. It was the start of a friendship and a short, sweet love story. He would make her feel safe in a world that didn't make sense to her. Lisa had always been awkward around people when she was in college. At age 20, she lost her virginity to a Turkish exchange student. It was a strange and quiet event that opened a door but left her with more questions than answers. Conan was different. He was serious, but very short. They were together for 8 months before their jobs took them in different directions. Then something else took place. Michelle Stern and Lisa met at a birthday party, only 1 month after Lisa broke up with Conan. That guy was French, cute, and friendly. She had a crush on him years ago, but he was seeing her friend at the time. He was now by himself. Lisa wanted to do something, but she couldn't. Not yet. She still felt weird and like the girl who said hello and then ran off. She waited. It's been 6 years. Lisa, on the other hand, kept trying to fit in with acting, but it wasn't easy. She tried to join the Groundlings but wasn't good enough. She started all over again in Segeti's class for beginners. Segeti didn't lie about anything. Lisa was getting angry, so she told her to calm down. You need to have it. It's all a lie anyway. It sounded mean, but it made something happen. Lisa made her first dumb girl figure at that time. Not sure what to do, but nice. She didn't like the name, but she could tell how people felt about it. Her being awkward was a good thing. It was amusing. Lisa's most important master ever turned out to be Segeti, but acting still didn't pay. She got her big break on Saturday Night Live in 1990. She and Julia Sweeney both had shows in LA, and Lorne Michaels came all the way there to see them. Lisa left. It hit her. She wasn't all set. She got the part. Lisa was sad when she got home. 4 months, she felt sad all the time. After the fact, she told Vanity Fair, "I thought maybe I'm one of those people who bad things don't happen to." She was a waitress. She asked family for money. It crossed her mind to go back to science. She became a part of the Transformers comedy group in 1991. The pay was good for her first regular acting job, but it wasn't even enough to cover rent. She had to decide between grocery shopping and gas. She could always go to medical school, her mom told her. Lisa always thought about it. Things got worse by 1992. Over 20 TV shows turned her down. She was cast as Roz Doyle in the pilot for Frasier but was fired 3 days later. She wasn't right, James Burrows told her straight out. She cried. She meant to quit. In the same year, she got a small part on Mad About You as an unnamed waiter. $2,000 was paid. She didn't even look at the plot. But by the end of that week, the show's producers asked her to do 5 more shows. Ursula Buffay was that character's name. That small part saved her. It was hard to get money even back then. She got a job on the CBS show Bob for $1,500, which was just enough to live on. She had roommates, borrowed money, did voiceover work for The Simpsons, and every weekend she did comedy. The Groundlings turned into a place where she could learn. Some of the people she worked with were Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig. She became stronger, stranger, and more like herself. She married Michelle Stern on May 27, 1995. That strange hello had been 6 years ago. Malibu was where the wedding took place. She had pearls on. They used both English and French to say their vows. It should have been the best time ever. Lisa still had panic attacks, though. She was still partly that girl from science class who didn't know if the world would ever really make room for her. Lisa Kudrow was the only one who had to try out twice for the 1994 show, while the rest of the group was picked behind closed doors. Everyone else was chosen by hand. The parts of Jennifer Aniston, Courteney Cox, David Schwimmer, Matt LeBlanc, and Matthew Perry were all given to them right away. Lisa had been fired from Frasier the year before, though. The director stopped everything and said it wasn't working after she had already shot the rehearsals as Roz Doyle. The director was named James Burrows. He didn't think she was good enough for the part. When her friends showed up, he made her prove herself all over again. While everyone else was getting ready for the pilot, she stood in front of him and did her second audition. Lisa did not know she had been picked out until they were planning the gathering many years later. All that time, the truth had been kept from everyone. But it wasn't easy at all to get through the interview. As the actors left the room, they said under their breath, "That was fucked." It was a terrible scene. Phoebe's speech about how her mother killed herself, how her drug-addicted friend died in the car, and how her stepdad is in jail. You couldn't just do it. You had to get through it and find a way to make it funny. Lisa saw people leave the room shaking, including some with more credits than her. She was new, scared, and still upset about being fired. She did lean on something else, though, having trained in comedy. The way she talked about Phoebe's pain made it seem like something that everyone could relate to, not like a victim story. That's how she got the part. The twin was something she didn't expect. The waitress Phoebe had played on Mad About You was linked to Phoebe by NBC. She was scared. She felt like she would always be the clumsy one. But they changed it into a twin story, which made a huge difference. Because she was known from other shows, she was locked in and made $2,500 an episode to start. That was $540,000 for just the first season. The network believed in her even though she hadn't fully proven herself yet. They thought the twin trick would work. Ursula showed up every once in a while, but Phoebe really stole the show. Lisa still wasn't sure. She wasn't like Phoebe. Her father was an expert in headaches and did study with her for years while she was in college. She had worked in labs and written about left-handedness and cluster headaches. Now she had to say things that didn't make sense. She said they didn't make any sense at all. And she couldn't relax. She tried to defend everything Phoebe said for 2 whole seasons. She gave it too much thought. She felt like she wasn't funny enough. She thought she might be too smart for the part. She felt like she was falling behind as other people seemed to do their jobs without any trouble. It didn't feel right for her to try to fit in. It was easy for Jennifer, Courteney, and Matt to get along. Lisa didn't. She said it made her think of being on the outside of a group in junior high, not sure if you were welcome. Matt LeBlanc made her feel better. He had also done comedy, so they liked the same kinds of creative things. But she didn't say anything. She wasn't sure how to ask, "May I talk to you?" People around them knew when something was wrong. Lisa had to figure it out. She had to learn how to speak up, to talk things out and ask questions instead of getting frozen. People on the show didn't just start getting along right away. It took work. And Lisa put in a lot of work to figure out how to fit in with that group. Lisa was mad when they recorded the pilot. "Not on camera, turn it off." People in the real world laughed too long at Phoebe's lines. She believed it was fake. It made her time go off. She gave them a mean look. Yelled "come on" more than once. She didn't want to throw off the show's flow. She thought the people watching at home deserved more than fake laughs and long replies. It took them 6 to 8 hours to film each show. It took more takes and made them more tired for every extra laugh. It made her mad when jokes were changed just because people got tired of laughing at them. She was sure that the cleanest form would be used in the end. That made her the most angry. That group of people wasn't really there. It was home. The money fight began in season 2. Each show paid the cast between $20,000 and $40,000. Lisa was pretty far down, with $22,500. The group was led by David Schwimmer. "They should all get the same pay," he said. They all came together and said they wouldn't do table reads unless they were paid $100,000 per episode. For the third season. Instead, they got $75,000 and got deals to share their work with other people. That would make them a lot of money later on. Lisa said it was scary. They knew they were not greedy, even though the network called them that. The show would fall apart if even one of them left. They used all the power they had. Everything hit her at once in 1998. For 3 years in a row, she was up for an Emmy. She finally won that year. A great secondary actress. But right before that, in season 3, she felt like she was failing. Her word for it was panic. She thought she was stealing because she wasn't working hard enough and was being lazy. Matt LeBlanc saw it. He told her not to do what she did in the first season. "You now get it." That turned her around. She calmed down. It was after she stopped thinking too much that she won the Emmy. On May 7, 1998, that same year, she had her son. He was known as Julian Murray Stern. It wasn't a secret that she was pregnant, the writers used it. Phoebe helped her brother have triplets by giving birth to them. Lisa felt better after her baby leave. The group even began their pre-show meetings by telling little Julian, "I love you, love you, love you, love you." He grew up there. While she was raising him between takes, he saw his mother play one of the weirdest and nicest roles on TV. He finished from USC in 2021 with a degree in making movies and TV shows. Lisa still felt like she didn't belong behind the scenes. The big meals that everyone thought they had with a group. They didn't. They only had one dinner together in the 17 years after the show finished in 2004. Once. That was around 2014. They didn't all sit down together again until the meeting in 2021. Lisa agreed that it was hard. She had to watch Courtney, Jennifer, and Matt to learn how to talk to people with respect. She said she didn't know you could just ask, "Can I talk to you?" Everything came to a head in season 5. Lisa was becoming more and more shy. We stayed away from group events. She stayed away from after parties. She said it all started in 7th grade when her friends told her, "You should see what happens when we're not around." After that, they left her. That kind of hurt doesn't get better on its own. She took it to the friends set. She would sometimes move away when other people played jokes and laughed. She did not want to be made fun of again. People put her back in the ditzy blonde box every time she tried to get out of it. She played the lead role in Romy and Michelle's high school reunion in 1997. People thought it was silly and it made $29.2 million. They said she was just being Phoebe again. They didn't get the whole point, the character's lies, the awkwardness, and the shame from high school. It was all based on her real life. That was hidden from them. They only saw one more blonde joke. She made the comeback in 2005. She played Valerie Cherish, a dead-end show star who was trying hard to stay popular. It was so real it hurt. HBO ended it after one season, but fans kept it going. It came back in 2014. She was nominated for another Emmy. She said Valerie showed her own fears. What if she was only friends? She didn't give up. She started web therapy in 2008, a weird improvised show in which she played a therapist who did 3-minute webcam meetings. It began online a long time before streaming was common. It was then picked up by Showtime. It went on until 2015. Not many people liked it, but the ones who did loved it. Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, and Jane Lynch were hired by her. She never stopped pushing herself, and no scene was planned. She played scary parts. In Easy A, she played a guidance counselor who cheated on her clients. She played a cold therapist in The Girl on the Train. Her character's name used to be Monica, but extras kept responding when they heard Monica and Rachel, so the name had to be changed. Friends was still after her even after years had passed. Spencer Pratt said of her in 2022 that she was the rudest famous person he had ever met. At a party, she told his wife to leave him, he said. He said she told him his eyes looked like those of a serial killer. Bethany Frankel stood by him. Lisa didn't answer. She flew to New Zealand in 2024 to film Time Bandits for Apple TV+. She was asked to join by Taika Waititi. She played Penelope, a thief who could go back in time, making it cost more than $100 million. It was taken off the air after one season. She said it was the riskiest thing she had done since Friends, but it didn't matter because Friends always paid. Every year, the show makes $1 billion from being shown all over the world. Lisa still makes about $20 million a year from it. She made about $90 million over 10 seasons. In 2024, when she was 61, she said she was still not sure what to do. She is still going to therapy. In 7th grade, she still remembers the day her friends broke up with her. She still remembers feeling like she didn't fit.